everybody, and welcome back to another episode of First and Last. My name is Josh, and with me this week, as usual, I've got Joe.
Hey, man.
And Jimmy.
What is it that is up?
Nothing much. Good sir. Kind pasta man.
Had some ravioli the other day. Carbonara ravioli.
I don't know why, but when people say ravioli, the only thing I think about is Chef Boyardee.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's exactly what I pictured. Just like
It's just I when you said I had ravioli, I went, oh, yeah. You just open that can, slops right out.
Oh God!
what a marvel of technology that is. It's just ready to eat.
It's just science.
Always will be. Yeah.
Just science in
You
a
don't
can.
You don't even need to heat it up. It's just ready to eat, too.
Oh God! I'm gonna throw up. You're gonna hear me throw up.
So, but carbonara in ravioli form?
Yeah.
I don't
So
think I've ever,
carbonara is like cheeses and like some sort of bacon product.
Yeah, it's like got egg in it too, right?
It's amazing, whatever it is.
Oh, did you guys? So a day of recording this, working, and all like the sirens go off randomly
Oh yeah, are we gonna
today.
die?
And I was like, oh great, we're gonna die. Do they do this in every state, or is this like I know they do it in multiple states, but I don't know if this is a 50-state type thing where they have a
I don't think
natural
so.
disaster siren that goes off, and they test it on the first Wednesday of every month. But
This is not that day.
it is not that day, and it just started going off at like a random time, and I was like, are we gonna die? What is this?
I don't think that that's a normal thing for every state because I recently saw a news little clip where they were someone I think on the East Coast was was talking to a reporter in Minnesota, and the sirens went off, and they cut it. They cut the feed, and saying, like, we're gonna let that reporter go to get to safety, and it was just the monthly test siren.
It was just a very normal thing. All right, okay.
We really
Well,
hope
hey,
that they're okay.
if you're in the insane world that is Minnesota at any point, and sirens start going off, look at your watch. If it's 1 o'clock on a Wednesday, you're probably fine.
Yeah.
If it's not, maybe Google what's going on.
Today's were just like part of like a annual fire drill day. Or not fire drill, tornado drill day.
So all of Minnesota had a fire drill today.
Once a month is not enough. Gotta also
Yeah,
have
exactly.
an annual.
Yeah, they can't schedule their testing when they're gonna go off normally, by any means. But yeah, this is not a emergency testing podcast, I guess. Joe, what is First and Last for newcomers?
It's a TV pod. We take a TV show, and like you would presume, we watch the first and the last episode. We typically talk about it a little bit, see what we know about it, and then dive right into the first episode, see what we think, then try to make some predictions, and then dive right into the last episode. Minimal research in between.
That's right.
Just real fresh.
It's my show today, and minimal research potentially won't work as much. I feel like some of us have seen this show. I have seen some of it. I definitely haven't seen all of it. I have no idea how it ends. But the show that I have decided for us to watch is Third Rock from the Sun.
Oh, nice.
I can't believe we've never watched this show before.
I feel like it's been danced around for a while.
Yeah.
So I thought it was time.
Danced around the sun. I definitely remember looking a few times and not finding it. So what is this finally streaming on then?
It is now streaming on the Peacock.
Of
At
course.
least as of time of recording.
Of course.
Because it was originally on NBC from January of 1996 through May of 2001.
Mm-hmm.
It ran for 139 episodes or 6 seasons. And I mean, obviously, there's some pretty solid character
Right.
actors in this. John Lithgow
Right.
is one of the mains. Kristen
JGL.
Johnson, JGL, of course. Got to see him grow up because he's a tiny baby boy, basically, in the first episode. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's little. The guy that can't open his eyes, French Stewart, is in this show.
He is awesome.
And there's obviously a couple other people that are in it too, but those are the four main people that live in the house together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all know essentially the premise of the show, right? I don't want to ruin it for anybody just in case, but
I mean, you guys were like regular watchers of this show.
I mean, when it was on, I feel like when it was also on around like dinner time or something like that. So like the family would eat food and like Third Rock or The Simpsons or something would be on. So I've definitely seen many episodes of this show.
Okay.
Yeah, reruns for sure.
Because I feel like I'm aware of it, but I like specifically avoided reruns. Like if it switched from like Simpsons or King of the Hill to Third Rock, I'm just like, well, better switch channels.
So do you know what the premise of the show is?
I might know the least. I know that it's aliens and that it's like they're aliens from another planet, like disguised as humans, and they're trying to get back. I assume it's like Alf. They're just trying to get back. But I don't actually know. Like I know that the roles of the family are weird. Where it's like I think JGL, even though he's like the youngest, he's like the leader or something.
Love that.
Yeah, he's the youngest on Earth, but I think he's the oldest in the aliens. I believe, if I can remember correctly.
Interesting.
So technically, he's like the senior of the group.
So like I'm aware of it as much as that I know it's an alien show. I've seen what it looks like, but I couldn't name you an episode.
Okay. Well, I mean, I couldn't name an episode either, but
but there's one called Pilot.
One actually looked up. There isn't one named Pilot. Thank you very much, Jai. But I'm gonna say that was John Lithgow. Thank you, John Lithgow.
I doubt.
Not the creator, not the creators of the show.
The creators or writers.
Bonnie and Terry Turner are the people that created the show.
John Lithgow is obviously like the big name here. But Jane Curtin, if you remember her at all, she's an actual human in the show, and she was big from SNL. Like she was one of the Coneheads in that sketch in the Coneheads subsequent
also an
movie. Also, that's a good point. But yeah,
she's got an alien thing going.
So I would think those two are maybe the most recognizable at the time.
Yeah, sure. She played Mary in the show. I remember her name. Other thing, I know it took place somewhere near where the Drew Carey show was set. So I don't know
in
if
Cleveland.
Yeah, it was. It took place in a fictional city called Rutherford, Ohio, which is supposed to be like 50-ish miles away from where Cleveland was. So I don't know whether or not those are in the same universe, which would be pretty funny. I'd like that. I think it'd be fun. Well, Joe, so yeah. I'm curious on what you might think is going to happen in this first episode. Since obviously you know the least. You kind of said what you think the premise is about, but does it start in space? Is it in Earth? What's going on?
I guess I would think not space, but maybe just like that they just crash landed on Earth, like much like Alf. I don't know how they would represent them, like, because I guess I assume that they didn't just take human form, that they actually like took over humans' bodies. That's what I'm presuming. So maybe we just see some sort of beam of light like happen upon just like a normal nuclear family. And And
Oh,
then
so they just like usurp like an entire family's being
Yeah.
and home.
Yeah, it's like body snatchers. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe we see the four principal characters just like having dinner, being like normal people, and then all of a sudden they turn into these wacky John Lithgow characters.
So
Um,
are they? What are these aliens then? Are they some sort of ball of light that are inhabiting these things? Are they some sort of like worm virus thing that's crawling into these humans?
You mean like the little worm from Wrath of Khan or something? Is that what you think they are?
Probably.
I guess I'm picturing like little green men, but we just never see the little green men.
Okay.
But they just have the ability to transport into human bodies.
Just hop into. There's a Doctor Who about this.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Doctor Who about Third Rock from the Sun?
About aliens who just like hop into human flesh bodies and like somehow zipper themselves up into these things, into humans' bodies.
I'm just wondering in how many. Yeah, I can't quite remember in the first episode where they are. If they have just gotten there, or if they've like been there for a minute. You know, I feel like it's pretty. It's got to be at the very least extremely early on in their like human habitation. How they do it, because I feel like I remember a lot of the humor obviously in this show is like them being like. Like we're totally humans, fellow human, you know, that kind of thing. And then when they're at home, they can just like make fun. They're like they don't understand what's going on, and they try out new things. I feel like you could get 6 seasons easy out of pretty much a an alien trying to run normal life as a human, right?
Yeah,
As long as you got
you're
good.
just holding a mirror up to society and being like, hey, isn't it silly how you go to work and have to make small talk with your coworkers?
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of material there.
I assume it's just like the Little Mermaid just playing with above ground human stuff and not knowing what anything does. I assume, what's the lady's name? I assume she uses a fork for a comb at some point, a hairbrush.
It's a dingle hopper.
Kristen Johnson. I don't
Yeah.
know what her name is. I don't know what her character's name is, but
I don't know. There's no way that I've seen the first or last of this show. Like all the just reruns forever. There's no way I've actually seen the beginning or end.
I've definitely seen this pilot before because I feel like a couple years ago I was like, Third Rock's on something. Like it probably was on Netflix or something back in the day, and I was like, I'm gonna watch some of this. So I've definitely seen the first episode. I don't like remember very clearly, but I think I know what Joe has said is correct and kind of what Joe has said is incorrect. Well, then where do you think they are, Jimmy? Do you think they're like landing and doing that stuff, or is there more or less of a setup to that?
I hope that we see something, some form of flash of light and some dust flying. But I don't know.
I'd be curious. I like Joe's I think Joe's strategy tonight is just to guess what happened in Elf and assume that might continue.
Yeah.
That might have happened in this as well.
Someone tries to eat a cat.
I hope it's just Power Rangers and they just land like they're just in a dumpster flying through space or whatever. And they just get out of this dumpster and are pissed. Maybe they were rejected from their alien race. And that's how they got to Earth. I don't think that's true based on what I remember, but
well, I mean, you know, there's no better way of gaining knowledge than by watching the TV show itself, right? That's what taught America everything it knows, TV. So
Yeah.
why don't we watch it? The first episode is not called Pilot. Thank you. It is called Brains and Eggs. And this one was written by the two creators, Bonnie and Terry Turner, and it premiered on January 9th, 1966. So let's watch that, and then we'll be back.
1966?
1996. My eyes don't work when reading. I knew that wasn't right, obviously. It wasn't in 1966. Brains and Eggs, 1996. We'll be back after that. And we're back. We're done with the first episode of Third Rock from the Sun. It was called Brains and Eggs. Jimmy, do you have a write-up?
Yeah, here's what the IMDb has. 4 aliens have taken on the human form and traveled to Earth in order to find out how humans live and what they do. And that's literally here's a little bit more. While on the Earth to find out how humans live, a group of 4 aliens that has taken on the human form discovers humans are more complex than they had expected. Leader Dick learns human bodies can produce feelings and wants to find out more about these feelings with his colleague Mary Albright. Tommy has a teenager human body, and he, after seeing some volleyball girls practicing, also finds out human bodies can produce feelings, but these feelings are not quite the same as the ones Dick experiences, because he's in puberty. And yeah.
Okay.
That's the descriptions.
Yeah. So there's 4 main family members that are all aliens. There's Dick, who's John Lithgow, and he's the man, basically.
Yeah.
There's Sally, who's Kristen Johnson, and she's the woman.
But not like his wife. She's like...
No, I think she's supposed to be his sister.
Okay, like John Lithgow is like, 50-ish, and Sally's maybe in her 20s?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if she's supposed to be that or maybe early 30s, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely
I picture,
an age difference.
I picture her and Harry, Sally and Harry, to be roughly the same age.
I don't know what Harry is supposed to be, how he's supposed to be related to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know I don't remember how he fits in. But then there's Tommy, and that's JGL, and he's the teenager. You think they'd picked him as, maybe just JGL was perfect for the role, probably. But I kind of was like, I wonder if they did a teenager as a boy instead of a girl teenager, because you can just like really hammer it in to boys, like really make fun of boys, like, and like get away with a little bit more.
With the whole
definitely more comedic opportunity with a teenage boy than a teenage girl.
Yeah. Without being like fully insensitive. And then there's Harry, and I wrote, because I said there was a teen, a man, and a woman, so I wrote Harry was the idiot.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I almost like don't even see him as like one of them's like finding out how being a human as a man is. One of them's like feeling how a human as a woman is. And I feel like Harry's finding out how being a human as an idiot is.
Yeah, I kind of think of him as like he was like the pet of the group, and he got a human body, and is like he's not quite totally all there.
I think he's like the communications officer for their group.
Yeah.
I mean, they very specifically called out the fact that Tommy is older, is like alien body person is older than Dick is, but since Dick is older, he's like in charge on Earth, basically. Is how I kind of heard it happen.
Let's see. So the wiki for this episode says that Dick is the high commander, Sally is the security officer and is his sister, and Tommy, like you said, is the eldest and he's the information officer. Doesn't actually say. Oh, it's supposed to be Dick's teenage son, and then Another alien who has no obvious purpose yet has taken on the form of Dick's brother, Harry.
Okay, so they're supposed to be two brothers and a sister then.
Apparently.
Okay.
I don't think we learned that in this episode, though.
Yeah. I don't know why I could be like, oh yeah, Harry and Dick and Sally are brother and sister, but like Harry's too young, but like Harry's like way closer to age to Sally, obviously. They're like the same age basically.
Mm-hmm.
But and then there was the other two characters basically that we met were Mary, who is the other professor that Dick works with at the university, who he should we just skip right to the kissing and slapping part of the episode?
There's some sexual tension.
Some weird stuff going on in that bathroom. And then there's Nina, his assistant. She's like the sassy assistant, I guess. She's not taking any guff from Dick, which is pretty much all he has to give.
Nothing but guff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nina and Mary balance out this show, because otherwise it would just be 4 goofballs for 22 minutes and it would just be awful. They're just bouncing off the walls.
That's right. And then we also got a scene in Dick's classroom where like some of the students talked or whatever, and he's obviously just using his students to like figure it out. What class are they supposed to be in?
Some sort of math.
Some sort of math, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then he made them all go home and write a paper about their feelings, is what he said the homework was.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right, well, I mean, I guess.
Because it seemed like their expedition was going to be somewhat short, but then because Dick got introduced to feelings, now he like wants to extend their research here.
Yeah, because they said they had been there for 2 weeks and they were planning on packing up and leaving.
Mm-hmm.
But then feelings happened. They didn't encounter feelings for 2 weeks.
I guess.
That's not.
I mean,
Maybe they had to
didn't
grow.
know they were encountering it.
Yeah. It comes up because like Mary and Dick's relationship is kind of contentious, and then it turns out Dick had been like reading Mary's like thesis or dissertation or something, and he like made fun of it, and then she said like, I don't like you, you've hurt my feelings, and then he's like, feelings, what's that about?
Yeah, and then it comes up again in his math class when someone's saying that their heart is in Cleveland, meaning that it's not like a you can't put a numeric value on the distance of a place when it's somewhere that you have feelings about it. And that's why he gives them the homework. And then but the rest of it is pretty much they're just kind of experiencing like sexual like they're experiencing stuff like other things for sure, but
Getting used to their bodies.
Tommy's having raging hormonal issues.
Mm-hmm.
Good times. And Harry and Sally are playing with meat.
Oh, that was a pretty great. Sally's just freak out of finding out that she's like, wait, I have dead cow on my hands, and then she just rubs it all over Harry's vest and runs out of the room.
Because like their landlord is teaching them to make meatloaf for the first time, and then she's explaining the ingredients, and it's like, I don't remember. It was like breadcrumbs, egg, ground beef, and then she explains to them that ground beef is a dead cow.
And Sally freaks.
Also, randomly, I feel like when they first moved into their like attic apartment thing, that they walked in from the right side.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure, having seen some of these episodes, that is a bedroom in the TV show. So they must have just switched it after the first episode or something. Because I feel like they always come in either through the kitchen doorway, because there's like a door that goes outside from the kitchen, or like there's stairs in the living room that go downstairs. So I think they rearranged a little bit.
Yeah.
So pay
'Cause it's
attention
just-
in the finale.
It's just like an attic apartment. Like there's not, it's probably just one door.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
This is something you'd rent in an Airbnb that's just like above someone's house.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like it's above someone's garage. Is really what
Yeah.
it feels like.
Yeah. Maybe it's what do you call that? Like an in-law?
Like a
You know what I'm talking
mother-in-law
about?
suite. Mhm.
Yeah. That's
It's
what
not
this
what I
is.
call it.
What do you call it?
Not her home. I'm sorry. I don't even have a mother-in-law. I don't know what I'm talking about. But so Joe, as the freshest person to this show, I guess I want to know what your initial thoughts are on this like first episode and whatnot.
Fresh
And the
Um,
premise.
show.
Yeah, a lot of shows, you know, especially shows like this, like comedies, like it takes a while to get into their vibe, and you know, the first and the last episode can be very different than like what you think of or what you remember of the show. I feel like this is not that. I feel like the pilot that we watched here was like exactly what I like think of when I think of Third Rock from the Sun. Where it's a lot of like weird goofball stuff. A lot of the jokes are they either like take a figure of speech like literally and are confused by it, or they don't understand how their body works, or they like misunderstand a social norm, or like, you know, take a gesture from one situation and mirror it somewhere else where it's inappropriate.
Like slapping the host as you leave a party by
Yeah,
for example.
because like what's his name, Dick and Mary like kiss, or like Dick kisses Mary, and then Mary slaps him and then kisses him back, and then they go back and forth with slapping and kissing.
Like you do, you know.
Like you do.
Which in any
In the
other
heat.
format would be so horrific
Yeah.
and terrible.
So yeah, and then when he's leaving the party, as he's like hugging the host, after like the hug, I think it's just a hug, right? I don't think they kiss. It's just like a goodbye hug. Then he slaps her because he thinks that's just like.
They might kiss on the cheek, but
Yeah.
I can't remember.
But either way, it's just like he thinks that that's how you like. It's like it's just another form of, you know, friendly gesture. It's just like, oh, we hug, we kiss, we slap.
And it doesn't seem like anybody was holding back on those slaps. You know?
Those are
Full on
full
slaps, yeah. Very snug.
follow through and everything.
So yeah, so it's, you know, it's what it fit my impression of the show, and it, you know, to that point, it's still makes me want to like change the channel if this comes on after King of the Hill or something.
Yeah. So do you just don't like Third Rock or something, or
Yeah, I think
Why?
like I don't know if it's just like that the types of jokes that I just kind of I see it and I'm just sort of like, okay, they don't understand, or I don't know if it's like just John Lithgowness. Like I don't know if it's the actors or the writing, but I'm just sort of like, yeah, I don't think that's for me.
Oh, that's funny. Jimmy, what do you got thoughts? Do you like this show? Do you like John Lithgow?
I mean, I always liked this show in the 90s.
Right.
And I think there's fun. I think there's enough here for me to be like, okay, I want to see some more Dick and Mary, see what goes on there. They just smooched. There's probably going to be a will there, won't they? Yeah, I don't know. I think I had high expectations going into it, so I'm having a hard time being like, just throw it away now after one episode. But I mean, I loved like French Stewart in this as a kid. I thought he was like the best part of this.
Mm-hmm.
He still might be the best part about this. I mean, he was standing in the bathroom at that party holding, I think it hit like that thing he has is just like a flashlight.
Yeah.
It's what it looks like. But he doesn't, they never
Just a
identify
big
it what
phallic
kind of
object.
object it is. Yeah. And then he's wearing a fur coat with the shower on. Just
Oh yeah. Doesn't he just wear that fur coat around all the time? Just
Yeah.
a weird dude, and I think I was just into that as a kid for some reason.
I feel like as a kid you just never seen anyone like French Stewart in this show
Yeah,
before.
very
though,
true.
Too.
I could take or leave Sally. I think she was better as Ivana Humpalot in Austin Powers.
I did not realize that was that she was in that movie.
She was also
not connect the
Wilma
dots.
in the Flintstones sequel
Really?
about Las Vegas.
In the sequel? Not even the
I don't think she's in the
Talking-
original
Viva Rock
re-
Vegas?
recap. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm mostly here for, and it is fun to see JGL so young. I did not think he was that little. 'Cause
I
by the
forgot-
end of
I told
this,
I forgot that his hair was long.
yeah, he's got like a pony, just rocking the pony. He should bring it back. Yeah.
It's looking great. Just a cute little kid trying to fight off hormones. I like it a little bit more than I think both of you do, but I can definitely identify that if this show, and it does, Joe, you're right. It feels exactly like Third Rock. Like when you think of Third Rock, this episode felt like it,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah.
then makes me go, oh, well, most of those episodes probably also feel exactly like this. And I could see a season of this could potentially get tiring. And you're like, just something else. I need a little change or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah. Because I don't remember being. I mean, it was all of these characters, even like the landlord lady. She's the same forever, unless she dies literally at some point
Oh,
in
God.
this show. She's not like that old, but people die.
People do die. It's a thing that
It's a
happens.
fact. Look it up.
They'll probably have to learn that at some point during this show as aliens.
Yeah, I'm sure that's an episode.
All right. I mean, I don't have that. I don't have too much more. I mean, as a pilot or a first, I mean, yeah, I think I think we all agree that you definitely know what you're about to watch. Like at least for the immediate future in this show, like you understand the comedy and what the show's going to do.
Yeah. That's
So if
true.
you don't like it, back off. And if you do enjoy it, continue. But I think there's like a warning of, I don't think this is going to evolve too much.
Huh.
That's what it is.
Unless some of you think it is in your
We'll
predictions.
see.
Who wants to go first?
I
can
can
go.
go.
Oh.
I got in first. I think that there's another group of 4 aliens that are inhabiting human bodies that are like the Solomon's rivals, like I don't know if they're enemies necessarily, but another rival research team.
A different planet.
Yeah, it could be a different planet. That's a good call. I think that in the end, Dr. Albright goes into space with Dick. Like they're like
Stop taking my predictions.
Oh, seriously?
that one seemed like the more
Yeah, I
obvious
literally
one.
have that.
Yeah.
Huh.
I have that Tommy stays because he's about to have a baby with an Earth woman, so he's got to stay and take care of that. And then I have that Sally and Harry stay because they body swap and decide that they want to see what life is like on the other side.
Oh, they just exchange bodies,
Mhm.
and now Harry is Sally and Sally's Harry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Nice.
nice. Okay. Well, here I'm going to do mine now because one of them is what Joe said. I said Dick leaves Earth and brings Mary with him.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of them that I have. I think Harry's. I'm going to call it a flashlight. That thing that he was holding all episode, and then they talk. I think it is in this last one, and it does something. That's not
Flashes
flashlight.
light.
Yeah, maybe
shines a
maybe
light.
it flashes light. No, I think Harry's quote unquote flashlight does something.
It would be amazing though if 6 seasons later he realizes that it shines light and he didn't know that the whole time.
And here's the deal. Problem is that's probably what's going to happen. I think that there's some sort of conflict or something that they're like fighting to stay on Earth. Like all of them want to stay, but they're supposed to go, I don't know, to the home or their own back to their own planet or something. So I think they're trying to stay. They're trying to stay on Earth.
Back to the
and then
consciousness.
Yeah.
The hive mind.
And then I think there are other aliens as well. But what I think is, I think Sally ends up shooting one of those other aliens.
Oh.
I don't know if it's I mean, if I had to guess, I would guess some sort of laser gun, but I'll settle for a handgun.
Just a.
You'll settle for it.
All right.
I'll settle for a bazooka.
Oh my.
So those are my 4.
All right. I also had a body switch, but I'm gonna cross that out. I'm gonna go with. So I just have that Mary knows. Mary knows that they're aliens. That's my first one.
Oh, I for sure, right?
But okay, but so then
But maybe
follow
not,
that up
but-
with we get a Dick and Mary wedding, Earth wedding. I guess I don't. I just said Mary and Dick wedding. Who knows? It could be a space wedding. I think I also think Tommy's still on Earth because I think Tommy is graduating college. Probably early based on what his age seemed to be in this episode, but he's an alien, so like he could probably it's probably grad school to be fair. And then my last one is I think we have in the pilot they're in their Rambler convertible and they listen to the radio, and that's kind of a little bit of a theme. And they hear a Beatles song and a James Taylor song. So I think we get a scene in the convertible again with the crew. And that's
I
kind
hope
of
it's
a
a
final goodbye.
Scene in the convertible, but with the other 4 aliens Joe mentioned. Or
Oh, man.
could happen. Cool. All right, then we're loaded. Let me try to scroll down all the way to the actual last episode and not like I did last week and only most of the way. So this is the finale. It's a 2-parter. Happened on the same day, May 22nd, 2001. We're watching both of them. It is called The Thing That Won't Die, or That Wouldn't Die, Part 1 and Part 2. So we'll be back after those finale episodes. And we're back. We're done with the 2-part finale of Third Rock from the Sun called The Thing That Wouldn't Die. Jimmy, do you have a write-up?
Yeah.
Also, what wouldn't die?
Yeah, I was just trying to think about that.
Is it love? Love won't die? I don't know.
Huh. I have no
They didn't try to
thoughts.
they didn't try to kill anything, so I don't know. Right up.
Yeah. So okay, so part 1 here, because this is a 2-parter. They are trying to figure out. So in the previous episode, Mary has seen Dick apparently turn another alien in human form into a chimpanzee. So she does not. She's distrusting of Dick. And then her friends Nina and Judith, a new character, convinces her to break off her relationship with Dick, and in response, Dick reveals his true identity as an alien to her. At first, she doesn't believe him, but is eventually convinced after Dick tells her to reflect on his unorthodox behavior over the years. Then we move to a scene of a robbery where Sally discovers her boyfriend Don, who is Newman from Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Slash, Nedry, Dennis Nedry from JP.
Just hitting his whole IMDb right there, Jimmy. Way to go.
That's it. These three things.
That's the only thing he's ever done.
So he's a cop at this robbery, but he's been hiding in a freezer in an attempt to give him more courage. Sally inadvertently pushes him to quit the force to start a muffin shop. And then Harry is at the scene of the robbery, and he meets a woman named Sam and makes a date with her. And then he sees her working at a fancy restaurant, and thinks somehow he gets confused and thinks that he's gonna date twins. He thinks this Sam is two different people. So he's got to deal with that that night. And then Liam complains. Oh, so then we never see Liam because he's a chimp. Apparently he was played by John Cleese too, of like Monty Python.
Yeah. Also, his name is Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah. So he apparently complains about Dick turning him into a chimp to the giant big head, which is like their some sort of leader back home. And he orders the family to end their mission to come back home. So that's the end of part 1, is the dun dun dun. Our mission's over. Fun's over. So part 2, they resign themselves that they're going to have to go back home, but Dick decides he's going to ask Mary to come with. Sally reveals to Don that she's a security specialist and then helps him to become a cop again. Harry and Tommy throw a space-themed party for the family by charging credit cards, since they'll never have to pay them. And then there's lots of side characters that come to the recurring characters that come to the apartment, and apparently also Elvis Costello being one of those. And he plays the party, which is amazing.
I mean, because he played Fly Me to the Moon. I guess maybe that's why.
Yeah. You
know. Even though they're not going to the moon.
I mean, as far as we know, but I assume not. So then the ending moments, the family sits in the Rambler in the same spot where they first appeared and discuss all the things they're going to miss on Earth, which prompts Mary to panic and decide that she can't go with them. Dick escorts her out of the Rambler and agrees to perform a memory wiping technique on her that erases her memories of him but leaves the feelings associated with their love still in her mind. Harry leaves his coat behind for Mary to lay on until she regains consciousness. The family sits in the Rambler and Sally begins to cry. Tommy and Harry begin to sing their mission song. Sally and Dick join in, and as the song reaches its crescendo, the four of them beam away. So then apparently we get this alternate ending that really confused us. We had to stop and make sure we weren't screwing up by watching the wrong episode, because French Stewart explains that we're going to see this little final thing, and apparently it was filmed in case the show got picked up again as a cliffhanger. So what happens is Mary, who's brainwashed, wakes up next to the car, feels the key in her hand that Dick put there, and she gets into the car, puts the key in the ignition, and then all of a sudden John Lithgow is naked beside her and says, "Mary, I couldn't leave without you." And then she doesn't know who he is because he wiped her mind. And so he starts screaming alien abduction, and then they get beamed up, presumably, to the ship. And then that's the end.
Yeah. So the original ending ends with them just getting beamed up, but they had shot this alternative ending in the case that they do get like full on canceled to kind of wrap up that no, Dick's actually going to come back and get her, which is really only like a 30-second scene at that. Like it wasn't much of a difference.
But it wouldn't have mattered.
But I mean, that whole part was pretty funny. Alien abduction.
Yeah,
Alien
it's pretty funny
abduction.
scene. I also don't understand like how by cutting that out that like leaves it up for like continuing on. Like you could still continue the show even if you had that last funny bit in there.
Yeah.
It almost makes more sense because then like a person from Earth would be with the aliens or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is it like since they left her like Mary behind, then like the show could continue because then they would come back to Earth to hang out or something?
Right, yeah. I don't quite understand. I think it works either way with the full
right?
ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, a continuation could happen on either of those endings, and it could end completely with either one of those endings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was definitely disappointed. French made it sound like we're gonna get this whole extra thing.
Yeah. It made it seem like it was going to be completely different. Like
Yeah.
they all die in the end or something.
Little did you know we filmed this secret thing. Maybe I'm just now with like special endings and maybe with the Marvel post-credit scenes, I'm just spoiled.
Yeah. So again, a two-parter. So when we queued up the first episode, it starts off with French Stewart in just like a soundstage, being like, "Hi, I'm French Stewart," and like
He's got his eyes wide open and everything.
The first thing that cues you that like something is different here is he has his eyes like open, and you're just like, "Who is this person?" Oh, that's French Stewart. That's what he looks like normally.
He has eyeballs.
Yeah, and
Did
he
not
says
know
something like, "Oh, like last May, the ending you saw wasn't the real ending, and we're gonna show you a different ending." And that's where like the three of us paused it and we're like, "Wait a second, are we about to watch the wrong episode?"
Yeah.
Yep.
But I
They
think
must
what
have-
like that bit was like filmed for like the DVD or something. Because the ending or the two episodes that we watched were like the final episodes aired. It just with that extra 30 seconds at the end for later releases.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was confusing for a minute, but we did it. We pulled through. Interesting how then over the course of these basically two episodes, number one, Tommy wasn't in the first episode at all.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm have we
Must have been busy shooting a brick or something.
Yeah, he must have like left the show for a little bit or something. I didn't check because I would assume there's no way for us to find that out.
Just, yeah, doing a quick IMDb, JGL he's listed for 139 episodes, which is all of them.
Interesting because we definitely didn't see him in one.
Maybe he's credited in all of them, but like he
for sure.
isn't actually in them or something.
Oh, he gonna get those credits. He's JGL.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely said his name in the one he wasn't in. So like in a way he was there, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting.
Sure.
But out of the four, I mean, really, like obviously, like Tommy didn't really get any form of send off by any means. He had no like story to like finish. He just like came back for the second episode, was trying to act tough, and then got sad that they were gonna leave, and that was basically it for him.
That was it. He cried into what was her name? Judith.
Yeah. And then neither did Harry. Harry just went on a date with one girl who he thought was two girls in the first episode, and then threw a party in the second one. Harry was just silly the whole time, which it's probably just Harry's character, right? The whole time.
100%.
And then Dick and Sally are the only two that had like actual plot to go through to like kind of finish so they could leave.
Yeah.
One of them, of course, being Dick trying to get Mary to come with him because now she knows he's an alien.
It's hard to believe that they didn't give JGL some sort of like relationship. Will they, won't they?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe, but did you see that guy's sideburns? Those were disgusting.
Yeah, pretty gross.
Yeah, he was more awkward in this than he was as a preteen.
Yeah. And I think one of his sideburns was like more filled in very obviously than the other one. Like,
he's trying something.
every time he was on, I was like, I don't even notice things like this, and I see this. This has got to be bad.
High school sideburns are just the best.
Yeah, and then apparently, Newman is like Sally's like boyfriend that she's like madly in love with because he's like because he's a cop and a real man, and she's like teaches him how to find his courage again. The little Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. He was okay. He seemed like he was phoning it in for the most part. He's like, this isn't my Newman gig. This is my Third Rock side hustle.
I mean, it might not be his Newman gig, but he was in 101 episodes, according to this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, dang. Okay.
He was in most.
That's, bulk of the season.
Yeah, he was in most of the show. So, when did Seinfeld end?
99.
Oh, okay. So he was just kind of back and forth then, right? Because, I mean, I don't think the last 3 seasons were 100 episodes. I don't know.
No, like 60 something.
Yeah. So while he was managing both, I mean, he didn't have a huge part in Seinfeld. He was just there every once in a while. So pretty easy for him. And then obviously, then there's Dick and Mary, who I feel like she believed him even like too easy than anybody should believe someone that when they say they're an alien.
Well, yeah, she like you just see the progression. He says, think about our relationship as like if I were an alien, and then she's like clearly having thoughts where she's like horrified and kind of charmed, and then back to horrified.
I just imagine that while she was like staring out into space, like and the camera was just zoomed in on her face, and she was just making different emotions faces. It was like someone had cue cards with like a smiley face, and then it was like a sad face, and then it was like a confused picture.
That was my favorite part of the episode. That was pretty funny. It went on pretty long. It's a good bit.
Yeah. 98. Seinfeld's 98. Sorry.
Okay. Well, I mean, either way, they still overlapped by 3 years. So.
Yeah.
Oh, and the other thing that was when they were at the party at the end, and Harry was dancing with Miss Dubček, and she was like, "Hey, that like Nooner was good," and he like ran away from her, like, "Shut up."
Yeah, reveals that they've been having, which you probably knew that if you're watching this, that they had like a secret thing going on. That seems familiar to me.
It's funny. Well, maybe that was like one of those like fan, are they like questions, and then they just kind of like, yeah, whatever, we'll confirm it for you at the end. We'll just let you know it's been happening.
Man, I hope so. This doesn't seem like a very tongue-in-cheek show. It seems like pretty much they let you know what the jokes are.
Right.
But
Yeah, I mean, they had to wrap up, obviously, storylines, but it still felt like it was still pretty dang wacky most of the time with everything.
That's true.
Had a lot of, I mean,
Silly.
a lot of French Stewart in there. And, you know, what is he going to do besides just be French Stewart, right? So.
That's what you want. I did like how, so then Dawn comes out. There's a spaceship in the driveway, and they're like parties clearing out to go see what's going on. And then they think, Dick thinks that it's like, apparently confuses it with an actual spaceship from their home world somehow. And then it turns out to be something that Harry just like rented for the party, and because the door opens and Dawn comes out. You're like, what is happening?
I thought for 1 second that it was going to be like, Dawn's an alien too? For 1 second, I thought that.
I guess that's what they wanted you to think.
Yeah, like maybe he was a different kind of alien. And I assume there's different kinds of aliens, so.
And then he gives Harry a ticket for having this spaceship in the driveway without a
Which
permit.
doesn't... What? It's
And
in his driveway.
Right, and that it's not illegal. And that's how you know that Don has become a real cop.
Because he gave his friend of 6 years a ticket for having something in his driveway.
A ticket that probably was not valid.
Right. Joe, obviously you loved the first episode, wanted to watch the whole series. Has this cemented it for you?
I think seeing the finale after seeing the pilot does show some promise in that a lot of the like kind of canned alien jokes that I got kind of annoyed by in the pilot are gone. It seems like a lot of the humor is less about like, oh, we're aliens and we're weird, and more of just like, hey, we came up with some like funny characters and mannerisms, and like it's less about, I mean, there is like we turn people into chimpanzees and stuff like that, but it's less about like we don't understand social cues so much as just like Harry is just a weird person and this is who he is and this is a TV show that he's in.
Yeah.
So, and I think in that sense, like I could see why people like really liked it and it won Emmys and stuff, is because like it feels a little less gimmicky or like predictable in that sense, where it's just like, all right, I could see what joke's coming next. You like, it's a character-based sitcom, which is what all the best comedy sitcoms are.
Right. It's just that they made the premise about them being aliens instead of technically quirky people, even though really they're just weird, quirky people.
Exactly. So I get it. I still think what's their names? Kristen Johnson and
Sally.
Yeah, and John Lithgow's brand of quirky maybe isn't my brand of quirky, but I like the French Stewart bits of this. It was kind of entertaining to me.
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely all different, even if like Sally and Dick are kind of like two sides of the same coin, you know, in that manner. Like Harry is obviously a completely different beast all to himself. And then you would assume that like Tommy's endeavor throughout the world, just being like the child of the group for most of the time, will lead him to like do a lot of different things too that the others won't. So I like it. I think there's always in my mind been like a fond spot for this show. I don't think I've never seen all of it, and I honestly don't think I ever will see all of it, or at least not all in like big chunks, like where I actually sit down and go like, seasons 1 through 6, we're doing it all, because I think just in whole, it'll get a little samey, even if some of that stuff is different. But I think in like spurts, like this is a really good show.
Yeah, definitely like a put on while you're falling asleep or whatever. Like, if you miss a couple episodes, you're not like gonna. It's not gonna mess up. You're not gonna miss any plot.
I mean, one of my favorite, like, I quote this show sometimes because there's one thing that happens and I have no idea when it is in the series, but I know I saw one episode one time, like growing up, that they're gonna like go on I don't even know if they go to it, but they're gonna go to a riverboat, and that's like they're talking about how they should go on in this riverboat. And I know Sally's character at some point is to French Stewart is like, it's the size of 2 football fields. And then French Stewart just looks her right in the eyes and goes, "Dos futbolitos?" And I don't know why, but that is still so funny to me. And I don't like how he delivers it is great.
Nice. So we got to find this episode.
Find that episode, Jimmy and listeners, because that's a funny that part right there is worth this whole show, in my opinion. This is also like probably 12-year-old me saying that too. It's been a long time.
That's fair.
So put that caveat on there before you actually go hunt for it.
I have 2 things, and one is if you just like love JGL and want to see real early baby JGL, he's like 15 when this starts, I think that could be fun for you. And also what I thought of in this, I think in the part 1 of the finale was, so Nina and Judith are explaining what they think of, like they always knew that something was up with Dick, and Nina thinks he's like an international terrorist, and Judith thinks he's a serial killer, which made me think of John Lithgow in Dexter. Right?
So you're saying they're
he's
connected.
like the big bad. So really, which like if you want to watch Dexter, because that's a great show, and then you just need a palate cleanser like before you go to bed, and you pump on some 30 Rock. Some not 30 Rock. Third.
Yeah.
Also
I feel like,
though.
I feel like I almost said that a bunch of times.
I can't believe that's the first time I did that. 30 Rock from the Sun. 30 Rockefeller Plaza from the Sun. After you watch your heavy show. Cleanse the palate.
It'd be pretty weird if you were watching the season of Dexter that John Lithgow is in, and then you then go, "Oh, it's time for bed. I'm gonna watch the sitcom where John Lithgow's an alien jokester." No,
Some weird dreams.
yeah, it'd get a little odd. Cool. Should we see how we did in the prediction side of things?
Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Joe, you went first, so I guess you should also go first again.
Okay. I said there's another group of aliens, which they reference other aliens, but they weren't in this episode at least. Seems like that might have been like a last season or earlier in the season thing. I said that Dr. Albright goes with Dick into space, which, according to the extended ending, she does. Not by her
That
choice.
Definitely. I
So
mean,
mad.
that happened.
So mad.
Yeah. So point for that.
All right.
The way I just want to point out the way I wrote mine, even if you fought what yours said, Joe, mine literally is Dick leaves Earth and brings Mary with him, which is literally exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have Tommy stays because he's about to have a baby, which is not true. And then Sally and Harry stay and body swap, which is not true also. So, just the 1 point
I'm sure
for
that happened.
at some point, yeah.
It's probably some Freaky Friday episode that they had, like mid-season 3 or something.
For sure.
My first one was that Harry's flashlight from the first episode does something, but that was nowhere to be seen. I said they were fighting to stay on Earth. They didn't really. They were sad, but they obviously just
They
went.
accepted it. Yeah.
Yeah, they sadly accepted their fate. I said Sally shoots another alien. No, that did not happen.
Apparently Dick did that.
Dick did that with some sort of
previously.
chimpanzee gun. And then my last one, like I just said, is Dick leaves Earth and brings Mary with him. Yes.
That's true.
1 point.
I was so happy when like Mary got out of the car and was like, "No, I can't do it." I was like, "Yeah, screw you guys." and then the last 30 seconds. Okay, so my number 1 was Mary Knows. And yeah, the whole first part of this was Dick explaining how he's an alien.
Yeah, definitely knows. Surprised they went the whole series and never told her until the very end. It's crazy.
Yeah. Then I thought there was going to be a Dick and Mary wedding after that, but clearly not yet at least. Then I had Tommy graduating college. He was not seeming to have anything going on. Maybe that's what he was doing in part 1 and we just didn't see it.
Yeah, who knows where he was.
And then I had the car convertible Rambler bookend, and we got it.
Definitely. Yeah. Good
So,
call.
Very happy about that.
I wanted flashlight bookend, and you went like, oh, smart guess, and went car bookend.
Yeah. I'm listening. Ohio. What was it? Rutherford.
Rutherford.
So I got 2.
Nice. Way to go. Way to go. That's the way to predict,
Crushing it.
Jimmy.
Crushing it.
That's the way to predict. All right. Well, okay. That's it then. That's Third Rock from the Sun, and that is also the end of this episode for First and Last. Listeners, if you want to write us in, make show suggestions, or, talk about other things, you can hit us up at FNL Podcast on the Gmail or on the Twitter. And you're listening to this on some sort of device, app, or whatever, with where podcasts are hosted. There's a button to rate
iPod.
stars, give it a thumbs up, do whatever. Throw that finger right on that screen. Hit one of those positive buttons. Give us affirmations. We need them. You can't tell. Jimmy's sad right now. Give him a star. He needs it.
They can tell.
They can tell. They can tell. They can hear it in your voice. But that'll do it for this week. We will see you again next week for another episode. Muffin or gun? We'll see you. Goodbye. Muffin or gun makes sense as long as they follow along. But if they don't, they'll be like, what?